Here we are going to see how to benefit from eco-modulation. What remains the same in 2025? Bonuses are still cumulative for the same reference, provided that the various eco-modulation criteria are respected. Bonuses are paid by Refashion based on a defined amount per piece or per ton according to the eco-modulation. Supporting documentation must still be sent during current year, so here in 2025, and the declaration of the quantity placed into the market for the validated references must be made in the next year, so in 2026. All declarations are made at the product reference level, whether they are declaration with supporting document or quantity declaration. What is new in 2025? Penalties have been introduced for products that complicate recycling for products placed into the market in 2025. These penalties concern products that include metal, plastic fibers, and electronic or electrical devices, excluding RFID. The pre-declaration is made during current year, so 2025, and the declaration of quantities placed into the market associated has to be made in the next year, so 2026. As with other eco-modulation, declarations are made at the product reference level. Please note that a penalized product cannot benefit from a bonus. To benefit from eco-modulation, the process happens in 3 steps. The first step is the declaration of references with the submission of supporting document during current year, so in 2025. The second step is the declaration of quantities and control of eco-modulated quantities at the beginning of 2026. For your information, a swarm statement will be required for penalized product. Finally, the third step occurs after the verification and validation of quantities, which is the payment of the bonus or the invoice of the penalty by Refashion in 2026. Now let's go into the detail of those different declaration phases. The first step is the declaration of references. You can make your declaration from January until November 30 of the current year, which means 2025. We recommend you spreading your declaration throughout the year so that we can provide you with regular feedback and adjust your declaration as needed. Declarations are made via a form available in the Q&A on our website. You need to create an account in advance to allow you to send us all your supporting documents without limit of the number of attachments. You can complete this declaration form with your supporting documents and Excel form to declare your references. After receipt and validation of the eligibility and compliance of the references, Refashion will archive this document on a SharePoint folder. To make your declaration, you must attach the Excel declaration form with a list of references concerned from the chosen eco-modulation. It is important to use a blank form for each new declaration and not to keep the line that have been previously declared. And of course, for each of the declared references, you must provide us with the corresponding supporting documentation. It is therefore possible to make a declaration for several references. Each declaration corresponds to a type of eco-modulation. But for each declaration and type of eco-modulation, you can include multiple references. Thus, if you wish to accumulate eco-modulation for the same reference, it is necessary to make 2 or 3 separate declarations. Therefore, one declaration corresponds to one type of eco-modulation, which corresponds to one or more references. For example, I wish to benefit from the eco-modulation durability and environmental labels for skirts. I need to make 2 declarations for this reference. A first one for the durability eco-modulation and a second one for the environmental label eco-modulation. However, if I wish to benefit from the eco-modulation durability for a skirt, a pair of pants and a hat, I need to make a single declaration including all the targeted references. Then let's move on to step 2, which is the declaration of quantities placed into the market in year 2025. At the beginning of year 2026, you will be able to declare the quantity placed into the market associated with the references validated during step 1. This quantity declaration occurs during the same period as the annual declaration for eco-contribution payments, even if there are two distinct declarations. In your extranet space, you will have access to a dedicated area for declaration for eco-contribution and also a space dedicated to the declaration of eco-modulated volumes. You will now be asked to communicate volumes by your reference and not by product line. This declaration will be made via an Excel file that you will need to upload to the extranet. Refashion will then carry out checks and targeted audit on the declaration before paying the bonuses. For references subject to penalties, you will attest that you have declared all of your concerning references. Finally, let's move to the step 3, involve the payment of bonuses or the billing of penalties by Refashion. This will occur in the second semester of 2026. The total amount of bonuses received depend on, first, the type of eco-modulation requested, the volume placed into the market, and the category to which the product is associated and multiplicative factor. Please note if you have declared references subject to penalties, this amount will be deducted from your bonuses. If this amount exceeds your bonus amount, you will receive an invoice. To summarize the application timeline, so for marketers, you have all of the current year, 2025, to submit your supporting documentation and make reference declaration. And then at the beginning of 2026, you will have to declare the eco-modulated quantities, and then Refashion will proceed with audits and pay bonuses or invoice associated penalties.